Hey guys, I am Big and Scare and bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay from NoN-eSports, this time featuring the best of 3 or 5. It's a clan war against LES and NoN-eSports. Featuring LES is Copyleft, our blue Masters level Zerg, and Victor from game number 1. This is game 2, FYI. From NoN-eSports, and our top left-hand side is forsakeNXE, our Masters level Terran. And yeah, he lost the first game, but that's totally cool. You can get away with that. In fact, you can get away with that twice in a best of 5, or just once in a best of 3. And I'm not 100% sure if this is one of those best of 7 clan war style of games where it's an all-kill format or something like that. I don't know. I do know that I have a couple of these games, so I know that this is not the last one. So I know that it is not a best of 3 or that Copyleft doesn't win. I'm not sure which one it is. So it's gonna be a great game regardless. And we're on Whirlwind, which is a very traditional map, a very large map, very macro style. And in fact, both players are kind of sitting back, relaxing. Doesn't look like we're seeing any cheese coming out from Copyleft. He's not throwing down that super early spawning pool. And I can say this with all honesty to you guys, that I love you very, very deeply, because on my right monitor is DreamHack Winter right now, and I just saw the Patience versus Life game. I've been watching that all weekend. It was incredible. You really, really you owe it to yourself. If you like watching StarCraft 2, go find the VOD for that. It's banging. It was absolutely banging. I can't wait for the finals, which is coming up, and I really hope that it happens before I have to go to work in like 2 hours. I don't think it's going to. What I do think is going to happen is that Forsaken's going to be throwing down a CC on the low ground, and we see a hatchery also coming out from Copyleft. So both players sitting back, taking advantage of the fact that Whirlwind is just absolutely massive in scale, and it allows you to get away with, going for a more macro style build. We have the spawning pool also coming out, and wow, it looks like a gas coming out from Copyleft immediately after that spawning pool comes down. Now, normally you would take a gas this early as a sign of aggression. It's 2-base play from Copyleft, and it definitely could be. But it also could be the fact that Whirlwind is absolutely massive. You want to get out that Zergling speed very quickly so that you can deal with whatever aggression could be coming out from forsakeNXE. We do have the barracks being started. In fact, halfway through the barracks being started, the refinery was also started, which tells me that this is probably going to eventually deal with a factory. He's probably going to be throwing down an add-on on that barracks rather than immediately starting off with a Reaper of some sort, just because the gas was a little bit later than that. But only time will tell. And yeah, if that factory does come out, we'll probably see a reactor, we'll probably see some Hellions, just because, once again, the size of the map really dictates the fact that you want map control. You want to get out there and actually start dealing some damage to a Zerg that has the hubris to actually get out a third. And that Zerg gets to defend well against that because he has that spawning pool, has started on that gas very early. He's past that 100 gas mark, and we don't have metabolic boost started just yet. Could be a misstep. Could be that he wanted to spend that money on something else, starting up that second queen and an overlord. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. I would expect to see metabolic boost started very, very soon, and the fact that he's letting that gas climb very high worries me, frankly. We could be seeing a 2-base kind of all-in play from Copyleft, because we did see that in the first game. We'll keep an eye on it. Keep an eye out on it. Factory started immediately. forsakeNXE repositioning his barracks. Probably going to be throwing down a reactor on that, but we'll have to wait and see. Always a possibility that it would be something weird, like a blue flame upgrade, or maybe even a tech lab. We can see some siege tanks coming out from that. That would be really, really cool. The belated SCV moving out, just checking to the top right hand side, sees no creep, immediately retreating, probably going to be checking out the bottom left, hopefully. And the 2 scouting Zerglings poking off to the top left, the Overlord having discovered that that's exactly where forsakeNXE, and wow, a Roach Warren coming down. A Roach Warren and no metabolic boost. That's what's all that gas for. A second gas going down. Do we have a third? No third just yet at the main. And this is actually really cool, because that SCV is so late. He's going to be able to poke in here. He's going to see the well-saturated natural. He hasn't checked the third just yet, and will he see that Roach Warren? That could be really big. Oh, he sees something being constructed there, bringing it back, clicking on that Roach Warren, sees that that's exactly what he's dealing with. Unfortunately, it goes down before he sees that the hatchery is being morphed into a lair. Wow, that's a really big pickup. That's an important pickup. So we have 2 Hellions coming out on the field. Those Hellions need to make a beeline towards that third. He needs to know if this third is being created, or he needs to assume that it's not, and that he's dealing with another all-in, because Forsaken is going to be in for a world of hurt if Copyleft wants to move very quickly on this. Now, this is mimicking pretty much exactly what Copyleft did in the previous game, except he's not being very aggressive. He's not moving those Zerglings out there. He's not managing to deny that orbital command from dropping. That means that Forsaken's going to be in for, he's going to be able to get out a composition, a unit composition, that's more impressive than he had previously. Oh, wow, a siege tank being made. Awesome. Siege tank coming out from that tech lab. In fact, that reactor was destined for those Marines and not at all for Hellions. Very cool. Oh, wait, no. He has 2 Hellions out on the field. He must have used that reactor for these 2 Hellions and then switched the tech lab up to the siege tanks once he saw that that Roach War now is out there. Absolutely massive pickup for Forsaken. Really, really cool. Nidus network going up on the high ground, but on the low grounds hatchery. Creep, a very cool pickup there for Copyleft. He's going to be able to drop that Nidus, the assumption from either one of these overlords over here in this no man's land of Forsaken's main base. He's going to be able to Nidus in a heck of a lot of roaches. He's got, oh wow, quite a lot already out on the field, 11 of them out on the field, and with the siege tank positioned over here to defend, this is going to be brutal. This is really, really going to suck because we have so much tech being constructed, so much infrastructure, but none of that is going to be hitting its stride once this Nidus is done. This Nidus is going to be erupting. We'll see how quickly this siege tank repositions. There goes the immediate pull from Forsaken. He's not repositioning his siege tank for fear of another run by from the main, but wow, so many roaches. He's definitely going to need that siege tank. Here it comes, trundling in on the low ground, positioning it right by the ramp. A single Marauder out there is probably going to be paying for itself 100 times over. The siege tank shelling down so much damage. We can see a lot of these roaches immediately in the red. The SCV is getting pulled immediately down to the natural, realizing that the main is pretty much exposed to these roaches. Wow, so much damage from these roaches. And the Marines are continually being supplied. No add-ons being added onto these barracks because Forsaken realizes that just every second that he can manage to get a single one of these Marines out there is just so key. One of these barracks is going to get deep into the red, but with a, oh wow, there is an SCV there to repair it. Will he manage to? Yes, he does. Wow, managing to save that barracks. Very cool pickup. Unfortunately, the +1 is going to go down before it manages to finish. Will the +1 armor also? No. The repositioning of the Marines just to the north side. Copyleft, frankly, has a very impressive army, but he does not want to manage to push deep on top of that siege tank. Repositioning the factory for these Widow Mines instead of a siege tank, an additional siege tank could really help out Forsaken. However, he had already switched that up to the tech lab on the barracks so that he could start on stim, which is going to be finishing in just a handful of seconds. Oh, the engineering bay deep into the red. It goes down before he can get +1. Totally gone for Forsaken. So that is a major pickup there for Copyleft, and ultimately really just justifies this engagement, justifies everything that these roaches have done. This is absolutely brutal. It looks like a small complement of Hellions had managed to go down to the third, but with that third only just now being taken, really going to do too much damage. I'm assuming 10 workers killed for Copyleft, only 2 for Forsaken. The volume of Marauders is beginning to increase, however, still not to the point where they can go toe-to-toe with these roaches, but managing to bait them back into the welcoming arms of those siege tanks, doing just a little bit of damage, a little bit of splash damage, managing to really just bring these roaches down to deep orange level of health. Trying to land that orbital, trying to get down those 2 or 3 mules that are trapped in all that energy, aggressively positioning these Widow Mines. He needs to once again bait these roaches back into the welcoming arms of those Marines. I really wouldn't be surprised if he just lifted off that orbital and moved it over here to the third, but no, the third's actually already been taken. Overlord is aware of that. Oh, so many roaches are already in this main base, actually continuing to be resupplied, but with all these this Nidus network, Copyleft is just being so aggressive right now, and there's really not a lot that Forsaken can do while all these roaches are there. Widow Mines just quite frankly can't push forward far enough and not risk the fact that they're just going to get targeted down. Another siege tank coming out, now being able to leapfrog that siege tank forward. A very cool play. However, oh my goodness, another Nidus Swarm. I love the Nidus Swarm. It's such a great play, making it so these roaches can really just disregard the fact that this is a massive map. Half of the roaches are now gone. The other half are going to be kited into the Widow Mines as well as the siege tank. And yeah, those roaches do retreat into the Nidus Swarm. The Nidus Swarm does get cleaned up. It looks like all the creep tumors have been cleaned up here, so that will eventually recede to the point where the main can be retaken. However, the third is now under fire, and wow, those Marauders have to walk such a long distance to actually get there and actually start doing damage to those roaches. Speaking of damage being done, 27 workers killed. Holy crap, Copyleft just doing so much damage, and now the siege tanks have arrived. The Marauders forcing the removal of those roaches eventually getting worn down. 19 roaches are left. However, the tech switch has begun. Copyleft, with his lair tech already done, because he had that glitter reconstitution for his roaches, is able to throw down that spire. He's got +1/+1 coming out for his roaches, and remember, 1-1 was already started and halfway done for Forsaken, but was sniped. It was taken care of by Copyleft's roaches, really just doing massive amount of damage, holding back Forsaken, doing so much damage to the economy. And we can really see how cramped he is. Look at this natural, man. He's so cramped, so much orange on all these barracks. However, he's got a very anti-roach heavy army out on the field. A lot of Marauders, a lot of siege tanks aggressively positioned. He's really not going to allow himself to fall for the same trick twice, but that's okay, because with almost enough money for 12 mutas, once the spire pops out, it looks like Copyleft is going to be transitioning over to an air powerful play, and those mutalisks are going to be able to take care of those Marauders and those siege tanks like no one else's business. Really, these Widow Mines and the handful of Marines that he has out on the field is really going to be very key to the fact. Double +2/+2. Oh wow, I missed the fact that Forsaken had started 1-1 again. But yeah, he's totally got it out now. 1-1 concussive shields as well as the stim and combat shields. So his Marines are going to be very, very intimidating and will definitely be able to do quite a lot of damage. And now that Forsaken has bought himself a little bit of breathing room, he's actually pushing forward, taking out 3 Overlords, maybe even a 4th one, despite the fact that they're very, very fast. And again, the very fast pickup, and those Mutalisks retreat, and those Medivacs retreat as the Mutalisks make their way across to the 3rd base. Push in here. Those Mutalisks did reveal themselves a little bit early. It doesn't look like that missile turret will finish. Oh wow, just barely surviving. What with the reinforcement of all those Marines. Wow, nice connection from those Widow Mines. These Mutalisks really not doing a lot of damage. Theoretically, they would have been a perfect decision, because I really expected Forsaken not to have a lot of Marines out there, but he transitioned so well into this anti-air complement, and because he had his guys out there on the on a drop, he could see that these Mutalisks were coming, so he has some of the static defenses already in place. And now with the majority of his Mutalisks kind of wearing down, Copyleft is going to be left scratching his head, because he really needs to deal with these drop plays, and those Mutalisks would be a great decision for that. But does he really want to invest in something that your opponent has such a great unit composition against? 3 Mutalisks are pushing in here, however, they get shredded very quickly by those well-upgraded Marines. Another stim and another pick off into those Medivacs, but they can retreat because all those Medivacs, all those Marines had managed to take out all the Mutalisks that were in the air, and something that you would normally expect to chase down those Medivacs and take care of them and deny that drop just isn't there for Copyleft. Now Copyleft is being forced to transition once again. He's getting out Baneling Nests, he's getting out the +2/+2 ground weapons, the melee ground weapons, and Infestor Pit too. Maybe going to be transitioning into Ultralisks, maybe with the Hive tech. Infestor Pit, yeah, obviously Fungal Growth is great against this enormous ball of very delicate Marines, but really the thing that eats up Marines like no one else's business are those Ultralisks. And frankly, Copyleft with 4 bases is definitely going to have a massive amount of economy, and he's once again going to be denying that 3rd. A handful of Spine Crawlers is not enough to hold back this complement of well-upgraded Marines and Marauders. They're going to be pushing in here to the 3rd. However, Copyleft, realizing that he's not long for the world for the 4th, manages to transition all of his drones away back to the 3rd, making it so that, he buys enough time for his Mutalisks to once again sweep in here. That's a lot of Mutalisks. 14 Mutalisks. That's a lot of Marines. Not as many Mutalisks. Oh, crap. Oh, man. So many dead Mutalisks. They just melt away because Copyleft was distracted just for a handful of seconds. Once again, trying to burst down the door with his roaches, but once again Forsaken has managed to stabilize. Once again he's holding back these roaches. He's kept alive his 3rd. His orbital command is still intact, and he'll be able to reposition. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he just moves it over here, because he knows that this place is continually being aggressed by all of those Mutalisks and roaches. Wow, some massive Baneling hits, finally cleaning up that drop. But Forsaken really has done a massive amount of damage. In fact, lifting off the siege tank and the handful of Marauders that survived all of those Baneling hits is going to allow him to retreat, +3 being started right now. And wow, we don't see anything coming out from that Infestor Pit. Did we have pathogens, glands being researched? No, we don't. Still no Hive tech. Why do you get that Infestor Pit if you're not going to use it? I mean, yeah, the upgrades potential works great, but really you have invested this gas into something that allows you to get it up. it doesn't cost much to go up to Hive. Yeah, it costs a little bit of gas, and you're spending a lot of gas on those Baneling nests, but the ability to transition into so many different forms of tech, I guess Copyleft is just really desperately trying to keep his opponent contained on two bases, and every time his opponent takes that third base, he tries to be just a little bit more aggressive. Okay, there goes the Hive, but man, he needs to make up his mind. Is he going to be playing the tech, or is he going to be playing hyper-aggressive? Because right now he's playing both of them, but not very well for both of them. These Marines are incredibly ballsy, pushing those Banelings all the way back home, biting off just a little bit too much, and now the Zerglings are going to be pushing forward, pushing them all the way back home, but the supporting swell of Marines and Marauders will be once again seesawing back their opponent. Now Copyleft is going to have to deal with this enormous ball of aggression. He has invested in that Hive, but he doesn't have any of that Hive tech out just yet. Centrifugal Hook is coming out, but 56 Zerglings are now out on the field. Not a lot of Banelings, though. We only see 4 Banelings. That is not enough to deal with this, especially with the unit control we've been seeing out of Forsaken so far. Here comes the enormous complement. Even the Overlord's getting in on the action, trying to ram the Medivacs. Good Baneling connections, really good Baneling connections, actually. Eventually cleaning this up, but yeah, that was actually a great play. However, Forsaken has managed to once again secure his third. His natural's got to be getting close to... Oh, no, I guess his main's not getting close to being mined out because he wasn't mining from his main for such a long time. His natural is getting close to being mined out, though. And with the fourth being locked down but a little bit of creep spread, it doesn't look like Forsaken's going to be able to take another expansion anytime soon. So does he try to end it right now, or does he just try to keep his opponent back on his back foot? Medevac with a bunch of Marines is going to be moving out, maybe trying to deny this fourth once again. Main is pretty much mined out for Copyleft. Natural is probably looking about the same. Yeah, pretty good complement of minerals still. Pretty good income for both players, actually, and they definitely have stabilized right now. That Hive is out, but we don't see any Hive tech. We see those Corruptors. I don't believe we saw a Greater Spire, did we? No Greater Spire, still just a single Spire, still no Ultralisk Cavern, no 3/3 or anything like that. Mutalisks have locked down that one Marauder. However, the Marines with their stem pushing in once again, just showing you how quickly those Marines devastate those Mutalisks, and once again that fourth gets cleaned up, no cancel there. That's a lot of money that Copyleft is going to be missing very soon. He's got a massive amount of bank, though, and speaking of a massive amount, wow, it's a big army. A lot of Banelings. This time they've got that Baneling speed, so they will be able to close very, very quickly. The Mutalisks managing to take out 1 or 2 of those Medivacs, and now that the speed is done, another 2 go down. That's a pretty big loss. And all those Marines pushing in, trying to do a lot of damage to those Mutalisks. However, the Zerglings and Banelings were there to clean them up, and that is looking pretty grim. Wow, this is actually looking really, really grim. Oh, but with the high ground and the pre-spread there for Forsaken, he's going to be able to hold back Copyleft, hold him back so that he can keep that third up and mining. And every second that goes by that third is up and that the fourth is not up for Copyleft is a great time for Forsaken. He's actually crawling himself back into this game by way of supply. 150 supply over 130. A little while ago, he had a deficit of like 40 or 50. And really, that's because Copyleft is not capitalizing on the fact that he invested in that Hive. He's still not doing anything with that tech. He's just now starting 3/3, which is absolutely fantastic. Don't get me wrong, 3/3 is going to really help him out in the coming battles. However, he needs to do something. He needs to do more aggression. He needs to stop using his Mutalisks as just another part of the army and more as harassing units, because every time he goes toe-to-toe with this many Marines, he loses a ridiculous amount of Mutalisks because that's not what they were designed to do. They're harassing units. You need to harass. And really, he's just losing a ridiculous amount of Mutalisks at a time. Here comes the push once again. Mutalisks, again, part of the main army. These destructible rocks are not taken care of. A small amount of Banelings pushing forward as the Marauders in the front soak up so much of that splash damage. And look at that pre-spread. The Widow Mine's back, making it so that the Marauders can, at a moment's notice, retreat back into the welcoming arms. It looks like there's going to be a pincer attack from the north side, and oh my goodness, the pre-spread is still there, but there's just so many Banelings. They're really cleaning that up. In fact, most of them connecting before the Widow Mines had a chance to fire. Once again, Copyleft just smashing into Forsaken's army. Both of their supplies pretty much stabilizing, but with Copyleft having a massive bank and a lot of gas left over, He's going to be able to remax very, very quickly. However, he lost his third. And that is a massive blow to his economy. 41 harvesters over 61. Doesn't matter if you're up by 20 harvesters if you're down a base. That is brutal, especially compared to the fact that the main is still mining strong for Forsaken. His third is looking just a little bit shaky, but here comes those Mutalisks, and there is no missile turret there. This is exactly what Copyleft needs to do to get himself back into this game. That Widow Mine is not burrowed, which would really, really help him out. A lot of Marines not attacking these destructible debris because you have to A-click. Oh, wow, a massive Widow Mine blow into those Mutalisks. However, they retreat before those Marines in the area decide to actually attack them. This is a really, really great pickup. Speaking of another good pickup are these Marauders pushing in here, doing a lot of damage to those Roaches. The Banelings connecting very well on top of the Marines. So even though those Marauders really paid for themselves by their aggression against those Roaches, unfortunately because of their support, the Marines getting cleaned up, there's really not a lot they can do, forcing the pickup. And those Mutalisks once again doing a lot of damage. I don't even want to know how many workers killed. 67 workers killed in the favor of Copyleft right now. Really brutal. And you switch over to the economic tab, it's actually kind of stabilized. 37 over 36. But that's because that fourth went down, and then the third, and the majority of the drones that were harvesting from the third really got cleaned up. Not a lot of drop play coming out from Forsaken right now, which is definitely his strength. Fortunately for him, there's not a lot of harassment play from these Mutalisks, which is definitely Copyleft's strength. So even though neither player is playing their build style to the maximum, it's because both players are playing so hyper-aggressive and are being forced to deal with the aggression from both players. You can't really afford to split off a small quarter of your group to do some sort of a drop play when you need every ounce of fighting units to actually deal with the constant harassment and constant attacking from your opponent. So it's very understandable because that Forsaken's not doing this drop play because he's having to deal with all these Mutalisks. The Mutalisks climbing up to a very intimidating amount of 16 right now. A good play here from Copyleft because as this game becomes more and more cost effective, you need units that can continually regenerate health like that. You need units like the Marines and the Medevacs, and you need units like the Mutalisks. Speaking of Marines and Medevacs, they are pushing into this fourth base, once again doing some nice damage to the economy. You can see a lot of drone carcasses littering the floor there. However, a good connection from a Baneling cleans up about half of the drop and forces the pick off. This time the fourth manages to survive. Where are those Mutalisks? Here they come, swinging in from the north side, trying to intercept the Medevac, which is going to be dropping in the main base. Really not a lot of tech here that's going to be able to clean up before those Mutalisks once again just shut down that drop. This is an incredibly exciting game right now. I can feel my voice saying that it just wants to go home. It's beginning to get scratchy. It's beginning to fail me. I don't have the tea that I normally do. I did not realize this game was so long, but it's so awesome. I have to go on. I have to continue. Oh no. Oh, I thought these were Mutalisks. I thought these were Mutalisks that were going to clean up this drop and really just open the door for Copyleft to deal with this small push coming in for Forsaken. There goes the stem, really trying to clean up that third at the same time. Small little run-by of Zerglings cut down by the third that are there. Oh, wow, a much bigger run-by of Zerglings. Going to be cleaning up all of the Marines that were left alive back there. The drop going off into the natural as well as the push coming off into the fourth. Fourth getting cleaned up completely by Forsaken. It really looks like Forsaken has this one. Even though he's losing this fourth right here as well as his third, I feel like Forsaken has such a large complement of units that he's going to be able to drop in this main. He's going to be able to do quite a lot of damage in a very short amount of time, and Copyleft can't say the same. He cannot push into this because there's so many Marines there. There's not a lot of minerals, but those Marines are going to be so very cost effective against these Mutalisks, and the Zerglings are going to be able to push in to this infrastructure to actually do the damage necessary to force this into a base trade sort of scenario. So Forsaken's just going to be able to drop and drop and drop, and really, unless Copyleft manages to take care of all these Medevacs with his Mutalisks, which is definitely possible, there's not a lot that he can do to answer back with this. Here comes the... Oh my goodness. Holy crap, that was so close. And these Medevacs are right... They have the Mutalisks right on top of them. The fully loaded one goes down completely. This is absolutely disastrous for Forsaken. I thought he was in such well control of this game. However, he is pushing forward with his Marines and his Marauders. Not to be afraid. He's going to be pushing in here. There are no Banelings on the field. There's only Marines. There's only Zerglings that are left against these Marines. You can see this, the pre-split. This is going to be absolutely everything that Forsaken has, and will the well-upgraded Marines against the well-upgraded Zergling units actually survive? I don't know. I honestly don't know who's going to come out on top on this one. So many things are going down. Copyleft takes it. However, forsakeN manages to retreat with a decent portion of his own units, and oh my goodness, even though the battle was won for Copyleft, he lost a lot of his harvesters, he lost a lot of his income. His third is completely mined out, and there are no hatcheries left. He has no bases left. He's forced to rebuild it right now, and long distance mining with only 30 some drones is not enough to get him back into this game. He needs to be so incredibly cost effective with these mutalisks. He needs those mutalisks to hold back any form of aggression that could be coming out from forsakeN, because forsakeN has managed to retake his third, which is not mined out right now. He is going to be getting a very small amount of minerals from this, and he's just going to be continually producing marines, because those marines will ultimately have to deal with this mutalisk ball. Oh no, the mutalisks have managed to find that orbital command, and with 170 energy, that is a lot of minerals that it could be mining. Oh, it goes down. That is absolutely brutal. A bad loss for forsakeN. So even though he has that that supply edge right now, I mean 60 supply over 80 supply, wow, almost popping up to 90 as 12 more marines are being started. Once this base finishes, that's really going to begin to equalize, because he didn't lose any tech. He's still got the hive. He's still got the spire somewhere, I'm sure. Oh no, he lost the hive, didn't he? He did lose the hive. He lost that hive in the in that initial doom drop from forsakeN. I totally missed that, but I remember watching it die and thinking that it had a ridiculous death animation. So that's huge, because that's an incredibly cost-effective unit that you can build. And look at all that extra gas that Copyleft has. 1,200 extra gas. That's 12 more mutalisks that he could build just by mining minerals. Massive. That's absolutely enormous for forsakeN. And unfortunately, Copyleft won't be able to rebuild that spire anytime soon. He's just going to have to build, I guess, Zerglings. Yeah, I guess that's really the only unit that he can build right now. Make them into banelings. Hope that he gets a great baneling connection. Those mutalisks are pushing in here. Really has to be careful, because as these marines push in there, even though they're stemmed, even though they don't have a medevac to support them, if they get underneath those mutalisks, they're going to be incredibly cost effective, because they only cost minerals, and that's all that forsakeN has right now. forsakeN pushing forward with a comical number of SCVs, holding back a lot of those Zerglings, getting the surround on those Zerglings, just showing you how devastating large numbers can be. The mutalisks being forced back, I guess, from a handful of these marines. Have to be careful with those marines. Really don't want to stem them to death. Each one of those stems takes about 10 life from them, which can really be a massive game changer as this game progresses. I mean, like 2 or 3 stems into it, your marines start to lose a lot of their effectiveness. And if these marines can just dart in, force a stem, retreat with only 1 or 2 medevacs out on the field, that really just massively cuts in to the amount of damage that those marines can actually take, even with combat shields. Good positioning of that Widowmine, realizing that this is definitely going to be the centerpiece of the next battle. Oh my goodness, those mutalisks were going to be dead like no one else's business if they decided to push in there. But man, forsakeN has managed to really stabilize his economy. 38 over 18 workers right now, and those 18 workers are all centered over here. We have a small complement of marines going to be pushing in here. Taking out every single one of those drones is so incredibly vital. And look at this, the mutalisks are on the opposite side of the map. These banelings really don't want to force the detonation on these marines, and there goes the hawk pick up. Those marines really don't have anywhere else to go. Yeah, they can kill the hive, but who cares? They're not going to be building anything hive tech anytime soon. Spawning pool is definitely a major pickup. It'd just probably be my target of choice, I suppose. But these mutalisks really just have to die in order for forsakeN to take the win on this. Even though he's definitely got an advantage, even though he's pretty much twice the supply of Copyleft, until he manages to take out those mutalisks, there's really not a lot that forsakeN can do besides these little cat and mouse sort of drops, because until he is sure where those mutalisks are, he can't push off with the full complement of his marines. He's still got to keep a small complement back at home to keep them safe, afraid of that run by. Here comes the Zerglings. He'll need good connections. Where is the splitting? There's no splitting. Oh my goodness, splitting just at the last second. However, really doesn't save all of those marines. However, each one of those banelings that goes down is just an enormous loss of income. For Copyleft. He needs every single one of those banelings to hold off the inevitable doom push. And here comes forsakeN going all in. He doesn't have anything left to defend him. It looks like the mutalisks know that. They're going to be pushing up into that third. At the same time, forsakeN's going to be pushing down into the fourth. Oh wow, this is actually really, really key. very fast burrowing of the Widow Mines, forcing a little bit of connections on top of those Mutalisks. However, with I think all of those Widow Mines have discharged so far. Yes, they have. The Mutalisks pushing in, dealing some massive damage to the last just tatters of the economy that Forsaken actually had. At the same time, the Marines have realized that the time to shine is now. They have stemmed one last time, bringing their health dangerously low. Pushing in, taking out that fourth. All the drones managed to escape, but escape to where? There is another base that has been built. The fifth has been built. However, these Marines are going to be able to go pretty much anywhere they please. There goes the pickup. And where will they push? Will they be pushing into the main? Will they be pushing over into the fifth that's hidden in the bottom right-hand side? The Mutalisks have retreated, even though they did a lot of damage to that orbital. They didn't manage to actually clean it up. And eventually they will rebuild. Even though there are 0 harvesters out there, there are a lot of orbitals being able to drop a lot of mules. Oh, the drones, the overlords, the Marines stutter stepping underneath those overlords, cleaning them up. Will those Mutalisks be able to push them in? I don't know. I don't think there's enough Banelings to actually deal with this huge number of Marines, especially with the splitting that we've seen right now. There goes the stem. A couple of the Marines get caught with a really nice connection from one of the Banelings. Another 2 kind of whiff, and enough Marines are left alive to actually deal with that sheer volume of Mutalisks. And I think that might be it. 40 supply to 40 supply. This is by far the closest game I've ever seen. But I think Forsaken has this. I think I've called this game like 30 times now. But I think Forsaken has this. I don't think that even with these 2 Banelings being created right now, Copyleft is going to be able to deal with this. The Hive is going to go down. Will he time his last push? No, it looks like he's repositioning his spines. And he does still have that base totally mining. Oh my goodness, this is so close. Why isn't he building anything? Does he not have larvae? He's got larvae. He's got 22 larvae. That's a comical number of larvae. Why isn't he building anything? He's got lots of money. He's got lots of supply. He needs more. Oh, that's why he's not building anything. He doesn't have a spawning pool. That's an important unit. Yeah, Roach Warren also going down. I'd love to see some roaches. That'd be cool. However, they do, they're very cost-effective units, and it looks like this drop is going to be pushed back just one more time. Oh my goodness, I am so fatigued from watching this action. I cannot imagine what it would be like to actually play this game, because I am exhausted and I'm simply talking about it. This is absolutely brutal. Forsaken is going to be pulling all the way back. He's quadrupled the amount of harvesters he actually has out right now, all the way up to 4. Dropping down those orbital commands. Does he have any other ones? No, he's only got a single orbital command. Really not a lot of mules. Really not a lot of Marines that can be produced. 36 Zerglings are being pushed out. I was so comfortable in calling it just a handful of seconds ago, but really, if this small complement coming out from Forsaken is cleaned up, even by that small number of Zerglings and Banelings that are out on the field, that could be it for Forsaken. I don't know what the right call is here. Forsaken definitely needs to be aggressive. He's managed to find this last base. It looks like the drones are being, oh no, stutter stepped to death. Only 3 drones remain alive. It looks like the hatchery gets canceled, and wow, the Marines managed to stutter step themselves up to the top of the ramp and manages to work their way into a choke there. They will take down that spawning pool one more time, and with that, oh wow. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Copyleft is going to have to go all in. He's going to have to push up this ramp, and it's really going to come down to, can Forsaken micro correctly? Can he split his units to make it so that they don't take a lot of damage from the Banelings? There goes the pre-splits. Please pick up those units. They do pick up those units, and now he's going to drop them once again, just kind of playing cat and mouse back and forth, making it so, yeah, can I bait out 1 or 2 Baneling detonations for 1 or 2 of my Marines? Because that's really the only thing that I have to worry about are these Banelings. Oh, Copyleft going all in, but the Marine splits is just so good, forcing a lot of bad connections. But oh man, there were just so many Banelings. Holy crap, 13 supply over 44. Was there just a single Mutalisk left? There is. Forsaken managed to take out just a handful of those Mutalisks that remain, and those cost-effective units, those high priority units, those Marines, managed to take out those Mutalisks. And with that, the macro is still strong with Forsaken. He is relying so heavily on his mules. He's only got 10 harvesters out on the field right now, but he's got so many Marines, and those Marines will be able to push in. Copyleft taps out my trachea. Thanks you, Copyleft, so very, very much from the bottom of my heart. What a great game. Oh my goodness, what a great game. I missed probably 4 key structures going down that spire, the spawning pool, twice. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous aggression from both players. I feel like halfway through, Forsaken just realized that, yeah, we're gonna do harassment. That's fine. I can do harassment like no one else's business. Just constantly picking off medevacs and picking up his Marines into medevacs, dropping them off in so many different locations, eventually managing to wear down his opponent so he could keep him on just 1 or 2 bases. Absolutely brutal opening from Copyleft, getting out that early Nidus Worm. Do you remember that? I know it was like 2 days ago, but we'll still talk about it. Getting out that Nidus Worm, getting into his opponent's base, successfully deploying that Nidus Worm, and the surprise of those powerful roaches doing so much damage, forcing the repositioning of that orbital, cutting his opponent's economy in half, transitioning very well to deny the third, and then transitioning wonderfully into the spire with those Mutalisks. But then he kind of lost sight of what those Mutalisks are for. They're for harassment. You don't want them to have a central role in your unit composition, and if you do, then you need to have a lot of Zerglings and Banelings instead of Zerglings and Roaches. And using those Mutalisks kind of incorrectly allowed Forsaken to crawl and claw his way back into this game. Fantastic game from both players. Absolutely brutal. I've got 2 more to cast, FYI, so that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Just for you to know, the game is tied up. Forsaken with 1, Copyleft for 1. Clan war between NoN and NoN-eSports. Absolutely fantastic. I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.